a new age where dreams of young hearts shall see the light of the day.
Seas to hills we claim our chance to pave the way. Unify hand in hand, we sing an anthem of hope, an anthem of peace. Our voice tomorrow sustains, leading the change our world needs to see, the change we shall be. It's time to change the tide of fate and set our hearts on fire. And we will never stop until we break the chains that bind us down. Beneath that which we sow, let our actions flow for tomorrow. Unify hand in hand, we sing an anthem of hope, an anthem of peace. Our voice tomorrow sustains, leading the change our world needs to see, the change we shall be.
It's a climate crisis, times are changing, mountains sinking and the oceans rising. But if we participate to mitigate this tragic state of the human race, we inculcate into the young that once united we are strong, and the world we've all been longing for is just one step out the door.
Whispers of the past we hear,
Stories of old, loud and clear.
it's time to cast away our fears. Tomorrow's not near, it's finally here. Unify hand in hand, we sing an anthem of hope, an anthem of peace. Our voice tomorrow sustains, leading the change our world needs to see, the change we shall be. Let's turn the pages, change the tide, shape the soul, hearts sustain, we will seize the day. Let's turn the pages, change the tide, shape the soul, hearts sustain, we will seize the day. Our chance to pave the way. Unify hand in hand, we sing an anthem of hope, an anthem of peace. Our voice tomorrow sustains, leading the change our world needs to see, the change we shall be.
Hello, dear members. Good morning, good evening, depending on where you're coming from. Welcome to Unify, Federation of Youth, where we let our actions flow for tomorrow. We have you on board and meet you. This session is live streamed on Facebook, and today I will be your moderator, Kakembo Brian. I am the regional point for Sub-Saharan Africa. Today with me is my colleague, and he will introduce us to what Unify is all about, and you can play your role with us. kindly put your name below so that we can get to know each other and this session becomes more interesting. First of all, let's start by you telling me how you feel. We have 9 slides that my colleague will be showing you a few pictures, and from those pictures, what animal best describes you, or what picture. Mine is number 9 because I'm anxious, but you might feel differently. So, how you feel in the Mentimeter? My colleague will share a link and QR code within the chat, so fast as possible, so that we can go into our exciting session today. Really nice responses. The Mentimeter code is above here. One word, just one word to describe what comes into your mind about the word youth. Mine, anyone below 35, or anyone with this much energy, and for climate. So I can't categorize them as youth. While this session is going on, we're going to be right, and therefore, I want this. Oh wow, I'm liking the answers I'm getting. Drive, excitement, nice. True. I say it. Nice. So while this session is going on, we want you to be right, and so we want you to ask as much questions as possible. Keep our team on the go, so that we can be able to answer this question in the session or after the session. So please keep asking more questions. As we go on, let me introduce my colleague Ernesto, and Unify is all about. Over to you, Ernesto.
Buenos días, gente bonita. Good morning, beautiful people, or good afternoon, depending on where you are placed now. I am the regional youth focal point for Latin America and the Caribbean. My name is Ernesto, and I will be your presenter today. Thank you very much for receiving me. For today, our agenda, maybe we can put it in the main screen. Thank you so much. So for today, our agenda is going to be a brief introduction to our team. What are going to be Unify's core objectives. What is Unify? What is this all about? What is going to be the YDPA? And if you already know, props to you. What are going to be our communications channel, our roles and responsibilities, what's next, and of course, the Q&A. Next slide, please. Apologies, we have a little bit of connectivity issues. So first of all, to our wonderful leadership board, we have Giancarlo Guillermo from the Philippines, who is our youth engagement officer in the WMO, and also Susmita Misra from Nepal, who is acting now as regional youth focal point for Central and South Asia, and Jeanette Bantiles from the Philippines as well, who is now living in Valencia, working as a regional youth focal point for East, South, and East Asia. Next slide, please. Beautiful, beautiful people. Peshang Hamakarim, one of our most professional members, he is representing Northern Africa and Western Asia, and he comes from Iraq. As well, Malek Romdan from Tunisia, who is also a Chevening scholar, who is also representing Northern Africa and Western Asia. We also have over here Ms. Zainab Zahid, one of the best brains I ever met from Pakistan, who is representing Central and South Asia. Brian Kakembo, our wonderful moderator as well, who is from Uganda, and he is for the Sub-Saharan Africa, his regional youth focal point. And Ms. Titilayo Adbayo from Nigeria. She's also a regional youth focal point for Sub-Saharan Africa. She is one of the most energetic members of our team. Zihang Xuan from China, he is representing East and Southeast Asia. Next slide, please. Okay, wonderful. Now, my colleague, my co-focal point, Maria Mercedes Curi from Argentina, and as well, here to serve you, myself, Kisaya Gerosano, who is now in the United States, is our finance and partnerships lead. Please go back to the previous slide. Thank you. Mrs. Davila Talemay Malaya from Fiji, who is representing Oceania. We also have Jay Gaspar from the Philippines, who is our communications coordinator and one of the most energetic and focused youth I ever met. Prakash Lama from Nepal, who is admin assistant and graphic designer, who is our Minuteman. He will be there at all times, anytime. And our one of our newer additions to the team, Paolo de la Torre, also from the Philippines, who is our graphic designer assistant. You will be enjoying their work in today's presentation. So thank you for the next slide. As you may know already, and if you don't yet, the Water and Climate Coalition is a body that is endorsed by several UN bodies, such as the World Meteorological Organization as one of the core members, the World Health Organizations, UNICEF, UN Environment Program, UNC, JLIFAD, Food and Agriculture. You will see the names listed here. And most importantly, they are doing this for, as you guessed, water and climate. So that's SDG 6, clean water and sanitation, and SDG 13, that's climate action. So the core dynamic that is going to bound those all in here is our work that goes hand in hand with the protection of the environment, the protection of the water, and how they are mutually mutually involved in a positive feedback. So whatever happens to one, the other one will feel. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So Unify for water and climate. What does Unify stand for? Actually, Unify is a branding that stands for two phases. We have the movement in which you're now engaging, which is the platform for networking for the youth, the government, and the stakeholders in order for action to happen. And we also have the festival, the United International Festival of Youth. So this is an event that is going to happen every year, or yes, every year, where we will meet all of us and put together the reforms, the document, the petitions, the what's the exact word I'm looking for? You will be meeting each other and engaging in the policy making of the YDPA, as well as reviewing the previous year's YDPA, the statistics, the results, and of course, your government will be agreeing to what measures are going to be taken for the next year. As you may know already, Unify Festival is going to be the official youth predecessor event for the UN 2023 Water Conference. That's going to be taking place in New York this March. So all of the youth input is going to be represented by Unify in this conference. Stay tuned. Can we please go to the next slide? Thank you. Now, this is something that I take a lot of pride into. The WMO OSG joint endorsement. I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit. If not, basically, the Secretary General Envoy on Youth officially endorsed Unify along with WMO, which makes Unify the official platform for these bodies to represent the youth in the UN system. So, props to all of us. Next slide, please. Unify as well is recognized by the Major Group of Children and Youth, or MGCY, which is the official youth constituency. Unify will be a part of the UN process and its activities. Next slide, please. One of our most proudful achievements was that we were presented during the briefing of the UN 2023 Water Conference preparations, and it was briefed by the government by the Netherlands government. Next slide, please. Thank you. We were also at the Dushanbe water process. That, in case you didn't know, it's been decades since the last process was due. So, if you take a look over here, we are clearly stating that we support and encourage the participation of young people to play an important role in the UN 2023 Water Conference, and further note with interest the development of a water, climate, youth development plan and agenda. So that's thanks to the incredible work of the people that has been promoting Unify, working behind the stages, and of course, shaking the hands of the big people that are allowing this to happen. So it's not only the youth that is being involved, but also a lot of high-level functionaries who decided that, you know what, we need to give these people a chance. Not only that, they are the only hope that we have. So please, let's go to the next slide. What are going to be our core objectives? The inclusive networking platform for SDG 6 and SDG 13 advocates. As we mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, Unify is a platform. So this is not an organization, this is not a company, and it is definitely not a foundation. This is a platform. This is your playground. Here you will engage, learn, and link up with other people, develop your talents. That is what Unify represents. We are also the global impact monitoring system. It's great to know that you are engaging with your community, that you are recycling, that you are planting trees, but somebody needs to make a note about that, and that is what Unify is doing. So we are taking inventory of all of the actions of our members, and we're going to be presenting them on a yearly basis. The statistics. We're also going to ensure the proper representation of the youth sector, and that will be through our processes, and of course engaging in the UN processes. We're also the youth constituency that forges the partnerships to UN agencies, the governments, and private stakeholders. So that would be it for our core objectives. Now, if I allow myself to take a little break, please go to the Mentimeter and answer this question. I want to know if you were paying attention. What does Unify stands for?
Thank you, Ernesto. As my colleague has said, really paid attention. So please use the QR code. My colleague has also pasted a link in the chat. Enter the Mentimeter and let us know if you are paying attention. What does We shall, of course, we encourage you to follow Unify Facebook pages, Facebook page, Instagram. Come follow us, engage with us, send us your questions, send us ask us what you need, and let us keep interactive session. And after this session, we will keep having more onboarding sessions, bring on more members, send more people, show them what we have been able to do, and it will be within Unify. As we come towards of our sessions, we also want to take a Q&A, questions from the chats, from the different social media platforms. We might not be able to cover all. We'll have continuous engagement through our emails, through our social. Throw those questions there, and someone will answer from the team. As we wait for the results from the Mentimeter, I will choose a few charts, and then we shall have some from the team, I myself, and probably my colleague Ernesto, coming from RHM zone. Is it possible to create a WhatsApp platform for all members? Yes, we will be having WhatsApp groups according to the pillar be engaged in. Of course, Unify is made of pillars, and everyone which pillar that they choose. And so we shall make WhatsApp groups much later that are based on those pillars. But currently, we have, and as soon as, of course, this is done, there will be you will be added to different Slack channels, and to be able to engage with us. Ozias, I hope I said that right. Please describe about RFPs. Oh yes, so RFP is the regional focal point, right, and is responsible from which they come from. I am from Africa, to be specific, and I am the acting regional youth focal point for that. Of course, the elections happen and you vote into a new one. And points who are responsible then for the countries from which they come from. Mustafa Abdurrahman, I have country directors. So as I have explained above, we don't have country direct national focal points. And we are within the recruitment process. Some few members have already expressed interest in becoming national focal points. I encourage you, for members that from regions that yet don't apply, we're still going through the process of selection, so please, possible. And we're recruiting on a monthly basis, so please keep sending them. Due to time, I think we can't take all questions. So, of course, in the chat, my colleagues are going to share the email, but are also info@unified.org. So send us all your questions, what you want to know, how you want to interact. Let us know what you do. If you have a climate organization, let us know what we can do with you, or what you can, and let us keep interacting. We will be recruiting, as I said, we will be recruiting national focal points soon, sending emails to all of our newly recruited members. And if you yourself all you need is to do all you need to do is to fill the email. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for attending this onboarding on our social media platforms.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. Perhaps we will have another session of Q&A later on. Thank you so much. It appears we experienced a couple of technical difficulties with the Mentimeter. Do not worry, this will be no longer a problem. But for now, let's face with the pillars. So we have a very interesting question in the chat that I would like to point out. Somebody's asking, what does Unify does that is different from other youth association, and what opportunity does it brings to? Okay, so that question is from Abirham. Abinet Abirham. Okay, thank you very much, Abinet. You see, Unify as a platform and not organization is a unique approach to youth action because we are no longer organizing youth and telling them what to do. Rather, we are asking, what can you do for your community? And we will just take accountability for it. And then we're going to ask you, how can we help you make it better? Or rather, if you ask us, how can I make it better? We will just reach out to the network of experts and you will have an answer that is going to put it in line with the SDG 6, SDG 13. What are the latest policies? What is the latest know-how? What is the tip of the iceberg when it comes down to methodology? So you will be ensuring that your project has an actual impact that is going to be reflected statistically yearly in a report that's the YDPA, the Youth Development Plan and Agenda. So the way that this is going to work, we will discuss later, but now you need to learn about the pillars. The water and climate education pillar is going to be focused precisely for those that are engaged with other people on a daily basis. For example, your professor, your daily professor, or the caretaker educators that are eager to spread the word, to spread awareness, to teach others how to do it. So they are leading the tip of the spear. We also have the capacity development, which are the teams that are going to be engaging with people that are eager to put their energy to some good use. So they are like our blacksmiths. They will be forging you into a sharper sword so that you can do your work better. Let's say I am a renewable energy engineering. I have a renewable energy engineering degree, and suddenly you need to learn about solar energy. I'm your guy. Let's have a chat. We also have active engagement. For example, Brian is right now working for the active engagement pillar. Basically, is going hand in hand with the Unify members and just spreading awareness, getting people active, getting them to participate. And of course, we are going to be engaging with the global mobility pillar, which is our global coordination branch. If diplomacy or coordinating with other people, knowing other cultures is your thing, then you will be most fit in global mobility. I like to think of this of like the Hogwarts houses, okay? So my Howard house would be governance. My Unify house would be governance, because it is of my greatest interest to know how to manage the available resources on a settlement to improve the quality of life of other people. So I may not be directly impacting into the policies as a governor, but I can use my expertise to bring an important improvement to my society. For example, there's like 6 million people in Mexico out of 132 million people that do not use internet. And that puts them on a huge disadvantage when developing their skill assets, especially on a um, heavily dependent on technology society. So this is one way that I can make a difference. And of course, we have the resource mobilization, the money guys, our green gods, if you like the Harry Potter reference. These are the backbone of the Unify actions and operations because, yes, volunteer work is great. We all are very spirited, but without money, yeah, that's not going to get very far. So we have a team of specialists that are going to be training and engaging others to getting the resources for you to um, work in the other five pillars. Thank you. Can we go to the next slide? And we have the unified global organizational bubble. As you may see, the bigger bubble is composing the global movement, which is the institutions, the organizations, the individuals. If you remember the slide that described the WCC, the Water and Climate Coalition, that is one of the institutions. You see also the WMO, that's one of the organizations, and you see the individuals, that would be us, that we are engaging. So that is basically the entire semantic field of Unify encompasses. Next up, we will have the national focal points, which we have a lot of you guys that are expressing their interest on becoming one. They are going to be our main agents funneling the constituency and the developments that happen on a global scale. They will be funneling what's important to their nation. So, oh, there is a drought in Nicaragua. Nicaragua is the breadbasket of Central America. How is that going to impact Mexico? I am, as national focal point of Mexico, must take an action on this. I must coordinate with the Nicaraguan focal point so that we can understand better how can we make the best out of this situation. How can we summon the members from Unify and put together a campaign? So the national focal points are champions. We also have the global focal points. These are, for example, in this case, we have Susmita Misra and Anjanette Bantiles, who are the main tip of the spear. I know that I've used a lot this terminology already, but bear in mind that this is breakthrough that we are achieving. So these two wonderful women are positioning themselves in the front line of Unify and engaging with the partners, pitching, and also proposing the agenda uh, first in hand. We also have the WCC Secretariat, which is all the members that compose the Water and Climate Coalition. That is formed by experts, ex-ministries, ex-presidents, um, ex-head of affairs, etc. You have also the regional focal point and the global operations team. I will be one of these regional focal points, and it's my job to make sure that the Latin American and the Caribbean region are very well informed of what's going on in the constituency. The global operations team is composed by the pillars of engagement and is basically the alumni, the people that are pulling the weights, the people that are doing the work on the ground and in the internet. And there are several ways for you to engage like that. Thank you for moving on to the next slide. The global focal points, they work in the level of convention, the global and regional and national. You also have the regional focal points that, as I mentioned before, they are communicating, cross-communicating the national focal points and their aid in the collaboration of the national level with their regions, within the regions. And the national focal points, we will be having two focal points that are elected on a country basis by the active members of this constituency, of this national chapter. They will ensure the localization of Unify's objectives and will be the primary validators of the Unify accreditation process. By default, one of the NFPs will be part of the convention and its processes. We also have the Unify convention in the next slide, please. Thank you very much. So, The two global focal points are elected by the Unified Convention. They will be engaging with the high-level stakeholders, they will facilitate the international gatherings, and they will propose adoption of relevant and inclusive changes at global level. So again, this will be the people that are going to be the direct point of contact to the Secretariat. The global operations team is composed by 14 regional focal points, and it is structured to lead and co-lead one of each pillar based on their skills and expertise. They will ensure that the operational requirements, and the final validators for the accreditation process. We also have the Unified Secretariat, which is in charge of the coordination, facilitation, and liaison with the UN entities as well as the WCC Secretariat. Now, please, next slide. Okay, let me crack my knuckles for this because this is going to be a handful. All right. The Water and Climate Youth Development Plan and Agenda, the bread and butter of Unify. So the Unify YDPA is the political positioning document of youth that will be representing us at the UN 2023 Water Conference. It is based on analytical research and sectoral analysis of the statistics for demographics. What is the perception that the youth have on the problem? What are the gaps and challenges that are reflected on 5 different dimensions? We also have the complementary projects, programs, and activities, which are the main way that we are going to engage. So we already have the statistics, we already know what's the problem and how do we see it, and then we're going to propose the solutions, and of course we're going to be monitoring them. So that's the solutions and commitments. You see that there's a feedback loop. That means that this is on a rolling basis. We will not just bam pour money into this and then hope something good happens. No, we will be asking, okay, we put money and effort into this. How did that came out? Oh, did it work? It didn't work. Why it didn't work? Or why was it a success? Then we will try to replicate this success in the other areas, in the other geographical areas that share common problems or share common um, characteristics, and of course adjust them so that they are better attuned to the geographical region that they're going to be implemented. Of course, with so many Unify members in each one of these regions, it's going to be far easier to understand what is the actual problem that you are engaging. I come from a selvatic environment, so it is technically not hot, but with 80% humidity, you will feel hot. And the same solution for water purification that we may be using here is not going to be the same that is going to be used in Africa, for example, where the weather is much drier. So focalization, national focal points, global operations team, the YDPA, everything works in tandem so that this well-oiled machine keeps working. Next slide, please. So unifying numbers, this is one of my favorite parts. If you didn't know, I am in charge of monitoring the main databases for Unify. We have over 3,000 members registered already. And for the different countries already with 4,500 responses. If you have filled out the YDPA, please do so. Help us reach 20,000 by the 2023 UN Water Conference. Only then can we truly say that Unify is taking into consideration the voices of youth, that we are being the inclusive process that we claim to be. 4,500 is already amazing. It's already very robust, but we know that we can reach every single crevice. Can you please go to the next slide? Thank you. So, our timeline. Since February, we've been working on making Unify the platform that you're now engaging in. We began with the contact mapping and data gathering. We summoned all of the 14 interns and asked them, okay, now you're going to be cold calling, now you're going to be researching institutions, now you're going to be contacting the big people that you know so that we know who to come to when we are looking for expertise. Then we follow up with April, the data synthesis for the Water and Climate Youth Development Plan and Agenda, which was our initial dry run. We follow up with June. We lobbied the YDPA to the public and private stakeholders, and we presented the initial draft during the Dushanbe water process. Now in November, we are proudly coming back with still sand in our pants from the COP27. And of course, in March in 2023, we will be seeing you at the UN Conference on Water. Next slide, please. So the salient features of the internal rules and code of conduct. If you already subscribe as a member, and if you haven't, please do so at unify.org, that is un1fy.org. You will see that you're asked to read and read carefully and sign the internal rules and code of conduct. This document ensures that the members are safe, that we can terminate troublesome people, that we prevent all forms of harassment, which we have a zero tolerance policy, that we protect intellectual property, and that we are taking attendance of those that are here. It does this fifth point. I must remark that you may be part of Unify, you may be part of a movement, you may be part of the constituency, but if you are only showing up for the photographies, this may not be the best place for you. We need the people that are actually caring to do the job. So this is how we are making every single member accountable. This is how we are keeping the credibility of the constituency, that every unified member is also representing every other unified member in the rest of the world. So make everyone proud. Make yourself proud. Next slide, please. Thank you. The meetings and procedures. So during the constituency calls, the pillars calls, or rather the teams calls, in whichever you're being engaged, there's a certain protocol that you may follow during the meetings. For example, if you see on the chat that I have said something that you like, you may put a plus that you agree, or a minus that you disagree. You can also put a hat, just write hat, or the tiny house symbol to say that you have something to say about a point, or a D hat, which is a direct answer to the point. So you're jumping the queue. Very powerful skill. Do not use it often. You will get in everyone's nerves. Just kidding. T is for time check. How long do we still have? That's already 44 minutes in. And the C is for clarification. Something was not clear, put a C in the chat. P is for proposition. Also, do not confuse with the hat, which is to discuss a point. And the Q is for the question, which we may be seeing a lot in this chat. So, for the meeting schedules, we are accustomed to using Let Us Meet. The schedule announcements are usually in the general channel in Slack. The minutes of the meetings, you will have access to them in the folders that will be pinned in the general channel of Slack. The communication channel, and taking over from the last question that Brian responded, we will be having the channels in Slack. We will be having the working buckets in Trello, which is our task board. And we may have WhatsApp groups in the future, but this will be limited to the very specific team that is working on something. Let's say I am Nicaragua governance pillar with the capacity building pillar. So it's a group of 10 people. Okay, they will have their own WhatsApp group. But for the pillar itself, we will be using Telegram, which is a much more robust platform that can stand more than 5,000 members at once. And then, of course, the official communications with governments and universities we will be doing through email. Now we may be following. What's next? So, what's next? Right now, we are proud to be engaging in the national focal point election. So, for your country to have a national focal point, they need to reach a minimum of 25 members per country. As of now, we have 170 countries that are already engaged, but only 50 have reached this goal. One of them overreached this goal and has over 600 members already. So, if in case that you don't see your country running elections now, this is your chance. Call your friends, some of your family, put them all in the hype train, and let's get you as national focal point if you feel you're up to the task. We also have the GOT, or the Global Operations Team onboarding, which is pillar specific. You were sent an onboarding survey in which you can input what is your main interest, what is the main pillar that you wish to engage. And this is going to be used by the pillar leaders to contact you and summon you for the pillar specific onboarding, like what's the governance pillar going to do, what's the education pillar going to do, and how can we expect to have the monthly or bi-weekly dynamic that we're going to engage for the calls, etc. And the volunteering positions. As you may know already, Unify is huge. So we need a lot of hands to move this. We were working on a volunteer basis with Filipino members in the past month, which one of them was Paulo, who rise up to become one of the secretariat members now working as graphic design assistant. So please, you know what to do. Can you please go to the next slide? The calendar of the membership activities. So every the monthly membership updates will be every first Friday of every month. So the bi-weekly meetings between the GOT and the pillars, like I mentioned previously, will be accorded, like they will be agreed upon. Yes, that's the word. They will be agreed upon by your pillar, by email, by Slack channel, by Telegram channel. So, and let us meet. The bi-weekly meetings between NFP and volunteers may also happen on a national level, and you may inform your regional focal point for them to be present in the meeting. The monthly meetings between the Secretariat and the regional youth focal points will also be announced previously, and there shall also be monthly meetings between the regional youth focal points and the national focal points. So this is a full, let's call it, web of a spider web of coordination work that is going around. You have a full contact between the global operations team, the national focal point, the volunteers in the ground of the country. The regional focal point is informed of all of this. They will be passing it on to the secretariat, and that is going to be into the monthly membership update. So everybody is taking part and everybody is finding out what they are up to in other parts of the world. Now, I may rest my voice a little bit. Brian, can we please continue to the Q&A?
Yes, Ernesto. We have a question. Abinet Abraham saying, "What makes to unify different creations, and what opportunity does it present to him? Maybe Ernesto, you can let Abinet know what opportunities he can have with Unify.
Thank you very much, Brian. I feel that we have already responded this question before. Abinet was asking why is Unify different, and we say that this is a platform. We have pillars of engagement, and we are very uniquely training everybody in the with the youth development plan and agenda and the. Sorry, my brain is not functioning. It's 2 a.m. over here. um, Basically, Unify is a platform that is cross-matching the efforts between all the youth, the stakeholders, and the government. We're basically just allowing for a free traffic of information and partnerships among them. So that's it. So we have many more questions, and I will be taking from here on, Brian. Thank you very much. Voting will be from Unified members only. Yes. So the 25 members, when they reach the minimum amount, they will be contacted for postulating as a national focal point, and then shall be election on the country. What will be the serving term for each national focal point? As of now, we're expecting it to be 1 year. What are the criteria for the selection when your country has the opportunity to elect a national focal point? You will see that they are all screened by your competences, and then they will be voted upon. I think that we are running out of time so I can take no more questions for now. So I will ask you to join us in our social media. You can scan this QR code, or you can click the link on the chat that will be shared shortly. Just make sure that you are following us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok even, so that you follow the movements of the constituency and your regional focal points. Choose your favorite, stick around, and we'll hopefully see you next time. Okay, if you have any more questions, please follow us. If you have any more questions, send your queries to the info@unify.org email address. We will do our best to respond to all of them.
Thank you, Ernesto. For everyone on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, our YouTube, and info@unify.org. Please send all your questions. We shall have a team member respond to you. For now, good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you so much. We look forward to engaging with you. Don't forget to look through your emails that either will be sent to you or you've already received. Some have already received. Fill in the survey and let us engage with you through our. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Chance to pave the way. Unify hand in hand, we sing an anthem of hope, an anthem of peace. Our voice tomorrow's this days, leading the change our world needs to see. The change we shall be. hearts on fire, and we will never stop until we break the chains that bind us down. We reap that which we sow. Let our actions flow for tomorrow. Unify hand in hand, we sing an anthem of hope, an anthem of peace. Our voice tomorrow sustains, leading the change our world needs to see, the change we shall be.
It's a climate crisis, times are changing, mountains sinking and the oceans rising. But if we participate to mitigate this tragic state of the human race, we inculcate into the young that once united we are strong, and the world we've all been longing for is just one step out the door.
Whispers of the past we hear,
Stories of old, loud and clear.
it's time to cast away our fears.
Tomorrow's not
here, it's finally here. Unified hand in hand, we sing an anthem of hope, an anthem of peace. Our voice tomorrow sustains, leading the change our world needs to see, the change we shall be.
Is to institutionalize the youth involvement in the water and climate sector for knowledge exchange, for networking, to upscale the innovation, technological interventions and capacity building of young people.
So UNIFY stands for the United International Federation of Youth for Water and Climate. So basically, we are a platform that unites all young voices around water, and we are working really hard to bring all these voices to the UN 2023 Water Conference next